Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Tracy Jones at Tremendous Leadership. And today I am so excited to bring to you our newest author, Sarah Dawn Petrin. Welcome, Sarah. And Sarah has written an incredible book and given us the honor of publishing. It is called Bring Rain, Helping Humanity in Crisis. And what better day to release this, what better month than Women's History Month. And also we have World Water Day coming up on March 22nd. So Sarah, we are delighted to have you here. It was an honor to work with you on your publishing journey.
Thank you so much, Tracy. Have been a gem, and I'm so thrilled that you believed in this book, and I'm so glad we met. And I just want to thank you so much for having me today and for all your support for this book.
You are so welcome. Well, I just always like to tell the listeners and the viewers where we connected, and it kind of was a COVID blessing, was it not? I
Yes,
was
it
selling
was.
my house, and I had a big doggy kitty pool out that I was not, because we have a pond out here now. And I think Miss Sarah drove by and saw. She's a dog lover, so for those of you out there, you know there's another connection. And you want to tell what happened, Sarah?
Well, it's true that our dogs brought us together because I saw this green pool that you didn't need anymore. And I thought, oh, my Toby dog will love that. He's a chocolate lab and he loves the water. But what I really saw was a van in your driveway that said Tremendous Leadership Books. And I thought, oh, how fun. I have to meet that person because I'm looking for a publisher for my book. And someone involved in leadership books was really interesting to me. And then when I looked up your profile and I saw that you had served in the military, and I was teaching at the Army War College. So I loved that about you. And then I saw that you also did some studies in Lancaster at a Christian school. And I thought that was really great. So I was like, I have to meet this woman.
All because of that van, and who knew it? So thank you, Sarah. And Sarah, talk to us about your unique background, because I always like to know people to know we publish books from people that have lived it, okay, and are subject matter experts. And your background, again, we've lived all over the world. We've been in scary situations, life-threatening situations. We've served people, we serve God, and talk to me about a little bit about your background and kind of what the folks are going to read in your book.
Yeah, thanks so much. So in Bring Rain, I really take readers on a journey through 20 countries that I've worked in and the humanitarian crises that have happened there. Not only natural disasters, but also war zones. And I really want readers to know that they can make a difference in the world, whether they're going to stay close to home or go far. There are things that each one of us can do to make a difference in the world and make our mark on people's lives. And so Bring Rain is really a primer for people who want to get involved, maybe in their community or for students who are looking at international careers and they're wondering, if they have what it takes to go into these crisis situations. And when I wrote this book, it was before COVID, and now we really see the need for first responders in the United States. We see a need to manage crisis here at home. And so really, I hope it will resonate with people, not just the international stories, but there are also a lot of stories from tough times and disasters in the United States as well.
I love it. Well, every leader I've ever interviewed, and you echo this, their purpose, their mission, their calling is helping humanity, helping others. And the minute we stop doing that is when we make the world a lesser place. And can you tell the readers, when you hear the title Bring Rain, because you're talking about all kinds, not just humanitarian, but war-torn countries, and you went to some places that didn't have rain. Can you tell the listeners where that title came from?
Yeah, thank you so much. So I really have a fascinating journey, and I was born in a very small, remote village in East Africa, in Western Kenya, and I was born in a year of drought. My parents were doing mission work at the time, and the village where I was born, it didn't even have a road. So when my mom went into labor, she had to cross this drawbridge, and the village chief and his family and a number of people came. And so my mom had an audience when she delivered me. And when they brought me back to the village, they held a rain dance, and they held prayers that I would bring rain, that I would be a good omen to the village in their life. And of course, I was just a baby. I was probably 1 day old, and unfortunately, I didn't bring them rain at that time. It was quite a severe drought. But their hope for my life and their belief in the fact that one person can make a difference, it really stayed with me my whole life. And later in the book, I tell a story about another country that was in a bad drought, and I prayed for rain, and it rained for the first time in 7 years. And so there's a nice kind of coming around of that desire to make a difference and bring relief to people in ways that are above and beyond us, right? Because as one person, you can only do so much. But there's also an element of God's work in the world that is an important theme in the book as well.
Well, I love that. And for those of you that are going to get this book, it's beautiful that you talk about rain as a metaphor for however you can help people. And what I love, Sarah, and I want you to hit on some of the different organizations that you've worked with, because a lot of people may think, well, has she done her whole career here or here? It's quite eclectic and varied. You have a beautiful range. And what I love about it is you're very pragmatic. You're well aware, because a lot of people are like, well, why would I do that? It's all corrupt. It's all, and you and I have both seen it, but that doesn't stop you from helping. And I love that you're very pragmatic about it. It is what it is, but I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. And you have that element of why we do it. Why do we help other people? And you really go into the faith aspect of, you know, dogs don't fly to other countries to help each other. Maybe they would if they could, hold the yoke. But I mean, you really get into what defines humanity and what makes humans human and humane. And so can you just tell the readers some of the places you're going to be, because it's so fascinating, some of the organizations you've worked with, give a shout out to them, because I think people need to know
Yeah.
there's so many different ways you can dip your toes into this.
Yeah, thanks so much. I mean, although I was born overseas, I grew up in the Northeast, so I'm from the state of Maine, and I really started volunteering in my community in Maine when I was younger in high school, and through the United Way, became a literacy volunteer and met adults in need in my home state. And this also was a formative experience for me. When before I had a job or a career or the right education, I learned valuable lessons from helping others. And then my first job out of school was in the Senate with Senator Olympia Snowe, who's now retired. But she was a very powerful senator at the time on the Armed Services and Foreign Affairs Committee. And I was also involved in a Capitol shooting in 1998. That was a very scary situation at the time. And then after being in DC for a while, I went overseas to work with World Vision in South Africa. And I worked for Africa Technical Services, which was a regional troubleshooting team that supported operations throughout the continent. And I went on to do graduate school in refugee studies and went to work with the UN in Afghanistan and Pakistan after September 11th, and have really been so fortunate to work all over the world. And I'm grateful to the organizations I've worked with, the International Committee of the Red Cross. I've worked with the Army War College recently, and now I'm also teaching at Messiah University. So I've been so fortunate and blessed. And this idea of helping others is something that takes a team. I say in my book that this is not the type of work for people who like to go it alone.
Mm-hmm.
This is not the type of work for people who want to take the world on their shoulders, because the first thing you learn is that you need other people. You need the communities that you're working with. You need the governments that you're working with. And you have to really form partnerships and friendships with a broad range of people, because we know that in a lot of crises that humanitarians on the front lines are local populations who are helping their friends and neighbors. Just like when something happens in the US, the first person to respond is often a neighbor or a friend. So it's the same way all around the world. Anyone can be a helper, anyone can be a humanitarian, but you just have to have some special knowledge if you're going to actually go out and manage operations in a crisis zone.
Well, and folks, for the book, Sarah really hits well on that. You know, it's the ideal, it's the heart, but then the tools, the resources. And she talks about, hey, if you want to do this, this is what it's going to entail. You're going to have to get the training. You're going to have the network, because you don't, when you go it alone, that's even in missions. I support a lot of missionaries. You have to have that network, that support, to be there. So, Sarah, I love that you said in the beginning, it's a primer. And
Yeah.
for people thinking about this. And I just love that, because the whole thing about what we do at Tremendous Leadership is, you're at this stage of your life, you know what, your ticket hasn't been punched, you got so much left. And I love that you talk about, you know, the literacy. 4 billion people out of 8 can't read, and so you just start wherever you are. But who do you think this book really, who's your ideal market for this book? Who should pick this book if they're out there listening and thinking, oh, I'm not prepared to pack up, or I'm too old, or what do you think? What would you say to them?
Well, this book, first off, it really is for anyone who's young or old who wants to learn about how to make a difference in the world. You know, we see these big global crises like refugee and migration crises and climate change and health epidemics and wars and disasters, and people feel a little bit helpless. Like, what can one person do? What can I do? So I try to break it down for people in a very easy way
Mhm.
and in a very non-expert way about what everyone can do. And then I really give very specific advice to young people who want to go into this work. And when I say young people, I mean really anyone who's young at heart and who still feels that their life is up for adventure, right? And I think all of us can serve as volunteers, or if you're more accomplished in your career, you can serve on a board of directors of a nonprofit organization. But I do give very specific advice to young people who want to go overseas and work in crisis situations. And I really hope it will prepare them, because as we know, you know, aid workers face a lot of security threats, threats to their safety. And I talk in the book about being held hostage in the desert. I talk about nearly dying in a car accident. And these things are very important, critical incidents. And we have to tell the truth to people that are starting out in this work, that if you go to an unsafe place, you will be in an environment where bad things are happening, not only to people around you, but you might also face threats to your safety. And I try to give very direct advice about how to manage the risks that you might face if you choose this as a line of work.
Well, I really respect that. And having been over there, and you know, in the military, you sign your life away, so you know. But not everybody, if they thinking they're trying to help, it realizes, oh, you're going into countries, maybe they're second, maybe they're third, and you may not have water. You talk about that, you know, rodents running
Yes.
across you. I mean, you just don't know. But I'm going to tell you, and I think you would echo this, there is nothing like living all over the world or in your own backyard and giving somebody a hand up. I mean, that is just the meaning of life.
Yeah, I think you're referring to, there's a very brief story in the beginning of the book about the Ebola crisis in Sierra Leone. And I was working with rural health clinics and doctors and nurses and trying to help them protect themselves with the equipment they needed to treat Ebola patients. And at the end of the day, I would go back to my hotel and there was no water. There was no electricity. It was so hot, and there were flies all over the food that we had to eat. And we were afraid to eat the food because we didn't want to get sick ourselves, especially showing up supporting an Ebola clinic. You do not want to become the patient. So, you know, you have to think about all these things. But it was such a beautiful experience, too, because we also got to be in the maternity ward where even in the middle of this awful epidemic, women were giving birth to babies, sadly without pain medication. But we were also witnessing these new lives coming into the world in the middle of this disaster, and the joy and happiness of the families. So I think this is a great metaphor for life. You know, all around us there are troubles, but there's also life and there's celebration and there's a newness that comes from having hope for humanity. And so you have to keep the hope alive even when you're in difficult circumstances. There's always new life that is coming into being. And I really want to celebrate that in this book and encourage people to see the good in the world.
Well, that's why I just love this, because you really hit that tone of it is what it is. There's always going to be war, poverty, famine. It is what it is. But we can still just bring the collective human in. And so many stories of brilliance. Sarah, where can people reach out to you? Where can they get in touch with you?
Thanks so much, Tracy. So my personal website is sarahpetrin.com. So it's SARAHPETRIN.com. So you can reach out to me there. And I would love to speak to your book club or community group about the stories in Bring Rain. You can also get Bring Rain on Amazon and wherever books are sold, it will be available soon. So please reach out to me and let me know how the book touched you. There's a contact form on my website, and I would just love to hear from you. And I'd also love to hear about your journey and helping others and serving people, because certainly there are a lot of needs in the world, and there are a lot of great people that are trying to address the problems we see today.
Absolutely. All right, for our listeners out there, March 22nd, official release date. Run over. There's the Kindle version up there. You hit that. We're gonna get Sarah's books in everybody's hands, and then you can order the paperback online as well too. So Sarah, again, thank you just so much for trusting us with this incredible story and getting this out. I know how hard you're working to continue to help humanity.
Thanks so much, Tracy. I am so excited that we met, and I am so thankful that you believed in this book. And I just can't wait for more people to read it and to be inspired and to go out and do great things.
Thank
So,
you.
thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And to our tremendous listeners out there, we know you're all about helping humanity. So get this book. Thanks so much for being a part of our tremendous tribe. Have a tremendous rest of the day.
Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.
Bye.